So the other day you mentioned about your daughter was ordered to go to a different church
Yes.
because of this whole thing with the
Right.
court case. And, the church should be a support.
Oh my goodness. No,
I
it was
take
not.
it that, okay, tell me a little bit more about that, because I've said the same thing. And as you know, Rosa, I went to Bible college, I went to seminary, I served
you really?
yes, went to seminary.
I know that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you did.
No, I didn't know.
Served as a missionary overseas, was an assistant pastor, was very actively involved in,
Mm-hmm.
when I was involved in the Santorum campaign, it was because of his stance for family and faith, family, and freedom. That's what those were the things that I said, yes, absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
and for other reasons as well. But what I found with the churches is that they have lost their voice and they've lost their testimony. And they would rather, it would seem to me, and this is the judgmental statement, so I don't think that this is true in all instances, but it's almost like they would rather have a ministry to these hurting people than stop the people from hurting to begin with.
Well, again, it's influence, and influence works in the churches too.
Yeah.
And yes, and my daughter did go. She was always interested in Bible classes,
Yeah.
which her own church did not have, the one she was going to before the divorce. And she always tried to organize it,
Yeah.
but nobody showed up. It was
Yeah.
a very small church.
Yeah.
It was supported by the family financially. So after the divorce,
Well, they've got their fingers and everything, don't
Yes.
they? I wish I had their names so I could blast it, but not you. But I know.
No names, no counting, no
I know.
judges.
I've got to say
So this way,
that
my
I
daughter will
admire
not be,
you,
you
and your daughter is very kind. She must have
and my
picked that.
daughter doesn't know I'm doing this, but I'm doing it more. I'm doing it because of my pain for my grandchild and my daughter.
Yeah.
But also because of all the other parents.
Yeah.
In fact, in the movement, hardly anybody knows whether it's who I'm fighting for, because I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm usually very private. But now, since you've been wanting to interview me, and I wasn't prepared when you pulled out the camera, I thought, I have a moral obligation to all these other parents and
Yeah.
children, because I'm so involved with them
Yeah.
and their lives, that, even if my daughter were to get upset, or her family and their court system down there,
Yeah.
I have to speak up for all these other people.
Yeah.
So I can't just sit and be silent anymore.
So it's interesting that you say that as well. There have been times that, there was something that I read a long time ago. Speak even if your voice trembles, something like that. There are times that you feel you have an obligation to speak, and you're like.
And my voice does tremble, as you can see, besides having constant, sinus problems, can't
Yeah.
breathe out of one nostril.
Yeah.
But
But people want you to be silent, don't they?
they want me to be silent, and it's hard for me to talk the way I want to. I have to,
I know, you've got
wait
a
everything
lot
out
of
to make sure
interests. I know.
nobody is hurt. And but someday I really wish to say everything I really want to say.
Yeah.
Not cover it up or sugarcoat it
I know.
in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And already you're talking about a lot that you're, and that's how bad the corruption is, and how deeply entrenched it is, and how far down it goes, because you're talking about things that I think people will probably be shocked to hear, maybe, or maybe they know, but they don't like to be disturbed by it, and you're being very kind about it. You're not talking about really what took place.
Right. Well, yes. If you heard the details, even of the parents, some of the things that have happened to them,
Yeah.
you would, Diane Lyon,
Yeah.
I talked to her several times a day and night. The poor woman, I don't know how many times she's called me in the middle of the night
Yeah.
saying, I just can't do it. I can't do it. This is
Yeah.
it. And I find
and-
something new every day that
Yeah.
happened to her. And I've seen the proof, too.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
what-
shocking.
And what
It's
you've said,
shocking.
you get people that call you that are thinking about committing suicide because
Yeah.
it's so traumatic,
Right.
what they're going through, the false accusations.
And it's not just
And
women,
I
but
know,
men
I
that
know,
call me
I
too.
know.
In fact, they all call me mom,
Yeah.
because I'm much older than most of these
Yeah,
parents,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Is there anything else you
Yeah.
want to add? I know that you have to head back to head back home pretty quickly
Yes,
here.
I'm catching a flight today. It's been a wonderful experience being here in Texas.
Yeah.
At first, Diane, when we went to court,
Yeah.
thought, this is so different than New Hampshire. They're much kinder here. I said, Diane,
You gotta be kidding me.
I can't say anything, but
Let Jody speak.
this is just an illusion. This is a facade. This
It is.
to sugarcoat everything so you don't really know what's going on here.
Here's a nice glazed donut. Now we can give you
Right.
some sugar on top of that as
And
well.
then after the judges spoke and the DA and everyone, I approached the DA
Yeah.
and I asked her a question. I'm not going to go into it because Jody's going to cover her up, I think, in the next one. And I asked her some questions. She says, well, I don't know. I only know here in Texas. I could only answer that if it were in Texas. And I said, well, their mother right there, Jody, she's right from here and from this court, and this is exactly what you did to her.
Yeah.
How do you justify that? Now she wants to correct it. Even her judge here,
Yeah.
when he sees
Judge-
her,
Judge
he
Navarro.
hugs her and he apologizes.
Yeah, I know. Judge Navarro is a good judge.
Yes, she loves him.
Yeah.
And so
But he had no idea.
he had no idea.
Yeah.
Some of these judges don't know.
And he's, and let me just say, for anybody who's voting, I will support Judge Jesse Navarro. He's a wonderful
Yes,
man.
I met him. I
Yeah.
met him, and he was so sweet.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad that I didn't have more time with him because
Yeah.
he had to leave.
Yeah,
But we were trying to set up an appointment with him, and the time ran out.
yeah.
He's
a good man.
Jody has nothing but good things to say about him, and he's saved a lot of marriages and parents and children
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah, I
And
know.
he did not know.
He did not know?
He was
I know.
trained like that by the system.
Yeah.
And we know of judges that have come out.
Yeah,
They said, this is the way we were trained, and we thought it was odd, but they told us this is what we need to do.
Yeah,
And then they have since left the force. In fact, there was a lawyer, I recall, from North Carolina that went to the Judicial Commission, it was the Judicial Commission there, and he says, I want you to revoke my license as a lawyer because I do not want to be identified as a lawyer. I'm ashamed of my profession.
yeah.
And, he was so disgusted that he did not want to
Be associated with
be
them.
associated with the
So
bar or,
There is an outstanding attorney out of Alabama, Melissa Isaac, and
Oh,
she,
yes, I've seen her, yes.
Yeah, she is
She's amazing.
outstanding. She is amazing.
Oh, my goodness. The extent she has gone through to help parents.
And you know what she
Especially
did?
fathers.
I was up in Washington, D.C. recently when she spoke, and she spoke
Yes.
about her own childhood and what happened to her.
Yes.
And it's a person who, again, took
I
the
heard that.
evil that happened to her and is using it for good.
Right.
And Melissa Isaac is one of the
Right.
great ones out there. If we had, could you imagine if we had in every state 50 people like Melissa Isaac?
Unbelievable.
Or 100 or even 10.
Yes.
I mean, if we could have an organization, people ask me all the time, do you have a good attorney that would help? And the thing is for most people, they can't list one. I mean, I get called, the other day somebody said, is there a good...
Nobody can come up with
Yeah.
the name of a good attorney
Yeah.
that they can really praise. I have one that is still active with us. I mean, we still haven't done anything.
Yeah,
And if he gets anywhere,
yeah,
I will promote him all over the country. I told him, I says, all we need is one case.
yeah,
One case.
yeah,
And it will affect everyone,
yeah, yeah.
But nothing has happened yet, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to do some positive things.
Yeah.
So
But I mean-
he's a nice guy, and he seems to feel for children and
Yeah.
These injustices.
Well,
so we'll see.
I know.
And he's
like I
running
said,
for office now.
Yeah. If we could get, I mean, I'd love to see 100 judges or 100 attorneys like this in each state. But I mean, right now, if we could get 10 attorneys in each state, like a Melissa Isaac, or
Right.
there's a couple of other ones, but they're hard, very few and far between.
Well, we had to go. We were told, people used to come up to us and give us a little note, say, we know you're going through this with this family. Reach out for this lawyer. We spend more money interviewing lawyers that could not represent us. And eventually, one lawyer said, go out of town to get a lawyer. No lawyer here is going to represent you. So we went 2.5 hours to a large city out
Yeah.
of town to get a lawyer
Yeah,
to help us with whatever else we're working on.
yeah.